is up, Internet? Oh, this movie's not gonna kill ya. It's just gonna hurt you really, really bad. My name is Matthew Kroll.
And I'm Shahir Dowd. Shorty, I'm beautiful.
And this is the only podcast about movies, specifically the summer blockbuster Suicide Squad.
Number one blockbuster.
Number one still.
Well, I think you said this last year. Like, there's so many prefaces with like this number one, like number one in August.
I actually just read that this beat, what was it? It beat Civil War's first Tuesday. And I was like, great, good.
I think the other noticeable thing is it beat Guardians of the Galaxy last year.
Right, yeah.
This is why we can't have nice things, people. I am so sad.
Don't be sad, Shahir. We're going to turn that frown upside down. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk through the pain.
Why are we talking about this?
Because the internet demands it.
Does it, though?
Actually, kind of, yeah. So I was working with a group of people doing a shoot in New York yesterday, and many of them that actually listened to us, which is very strange. And
Wait, what?
I know. They were like, I cannot wait for your Suicide Squad podcast. And I was like, really? I was like, okay, so here we are.
This is our Suicide Squad podcast. We are the only podcast about Suicide Squad and the only podcast about movies. You can reach us at onlymoviepodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on Twitter at onlymoviepod. We have been getting a lot of feedback and notes to do specific movies. If you caught our last week's episode, The Childhood of Alita, which was specifically requested by Jacob on our Facebook page, you know that we listen to our fans and listen to requests. So if you have one, please pass them our way. We also love them iTunes reviews. If you want to help us out and support us in any way, we don't have a Patreon page or a Kickstarter or anything, but we really like those iTunes reviews.
You pay us in stars.
Yeah, they give us a little bit more visibility on the podcast universe.
Yes. Speaking of visibility in the podcast universe,
yeah,
we're doing a live show, Shahir.
Oh my, yeah. So if you want to see us live,
yeah,
and why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? We're beautiful, Shorty. Yeah. We are going to be at PAX West, ladies and gentlemen, Friday night, September 2nd, 6 p.m. at the Sphinx Theater, doing our panel called "Getting Good" (GUD) at Making Video Game Movies, where we're going to basically deconstruct how Hollywood has treated my favorite genre, not genre, I guess
Your
medium,
favorite thing,
my favorite thing,
yeah,
and how we can make it better, how we can make these things better. If we could sit all the major studios down and teach a class, they should probably just come to the panel.
Basically, we're saying we can fix Hollywood.
I'm saying we can fix video game movies, absolutely. It's going to take some doing. It's going to be me, Shahir, our buddy Red, and also James Portnow of Extra Credits fame. He's going to give us our gaming clout we need. And it's going to be 100% awesome. So if you're in the Seattle area, please come on down.
Now, if you want to do something that's 100% not awesome, go see Suicide Squad.
Okay, all right, hold on. Okay. So,
Matt, well,
impossible. It's impossible. What, do you want to talk about history of Suicide Squad first? Is that what you're going for?
I was going to say, well, yeah, I mean, are you a fan of, like, the comic books? What do you know about Suicide Squad?
I am not. I haven't really read most of them. I read, like, an issue or two here or there once it was, like, rebranded the 9th time DC reboots its fucking universe. But, like, I read the first issue where Harley was actually in it.
Is that the New 52, or?
Maybe. Yeah. Again, I'm not the DC guy, sadly. The closest thing I can think of is Marvel's version of Suicide Squad is called the Thunderbolts.
Okay.
And it's very similar. It's a like government-funded thing where they send bad guys and they have explosions. It's the same fucking thing.
Right.
They rip each other off all the time, especially back in like the 70s and the 80s. But I read there's a whole sort of series about how Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, becomes the head of Thunderbolts. And like it's a very cool thing. I want to say it was written by Garth Ennis, but I could be totally wrong on that.
Right.
Anyway, so that's the closest I've come. I'm not a fan. I liked them on Arrow. They did a mini Suicide Squad sort of pass on the TV show Arrow. I'm a big fan of the television universe and the animated universe of DC stuff.
Right.
But no, I'm not. I mean, are you? You haven't read them?
I have not. I've read one edition of the Suicide Squad, I think many years ago, and it wasn't something that kept my attention.
Sure.
But I'm aware that is this thing called the Suicide Squad.
Well,
I know some of these individual characters, and obviously it's impossible to avoid the marketing for this movie.
That's what I was going to say. The marketing for this thing is fucking everywhere.
There was like 5 trailers.
Starting last year at Comic-Con 2015.
This is the thing. I don't watch movie trailers, and it was impossible to not see a trailer for Suicide Squad. I did see the initial teaser, and I thought that was really good. I was interested.
Was that the I started a joke Yeah, the dark trailer, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And then you know what? The fucking zany trailer was even fucking cooler. Dude,
I didn't watch any of those.
I got to tell you, I rewatched them after I watched this movie. I watched all 3 trailers and some promotional stuff.
Right.
And for a lot of them, I still got feels. Like I still it resonated so hard with me, like the images with the way they were playing it, either the hokey version or the dark and sort of moody version. Like I was watching
Bohemian
it.
Rhapsody trailer is really cool. Yeah.
And like I'm just like, wow.
So, do you want to know a fun fact?
Yeah.
Is that in the re-editing process of this movie, which is painfully evident, by the way.
Oh, yeah, we'll talk about that.
They actually brought in the team that cut the trailers, Trailer House, to recut the movie.
And then there were 2 versions, right? There was David Ayer's version and the Trailer House version.
I think there's been a few versions. One thing that's painfully obvious to me, one thing that when I watched the movie, and you're going to hear what my opinion on the whole enterprise is I felt like they DCP'd the wrong movie. Like the wrong cut went out because this.
Yeah.
The thing that makes me sad about this movie is it's so incoherent that I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it actually made it out of the studio into a movie theater. It's so bafflingly incoherent.
Well, I'll tell you, they don't give a shit because they know it'll make money.
Because they'll just shovel it and we'll just watch it.
Yeah.
One of the things I feel bad about is that I paid to see this movie.
Here's the thing, and this is why, and I feel like my anger will rise as this sort of goes on, because you guys,
the fire rises,
the anger rises. Okay. If I don't care about a movie and it sucks, like Fantastic Four sucked.
Yeah.
I wasn't particularly angry that Fantastic Four sucked. Yeah, it sucks they're making shovelware for like movies now, but like. Whatever. I knew it was going to be bad. It was going to be bad. This I had hopes for. And again, trailers invoked emotional responses in me.
Yeah.
So I feel doubly betrayed by, like, what? Why am I giving this fucking company chances?
Right.
So, like, this is the thing. The rumor was that there are 2 cuts. There's the original David Ayer cut before they went back and tried to make it funny and slather fucking at least 4 soundtracks smashed into the damn thing.
Yeah.
And then there's the funny cut by Trailer House. Right. And then they tested both versions.
Yeah.
And then they tested equally. So what's the solution, Shahir? Well, why not just make a choice with 1 or 2 versions, right? Maybe do the dark one, maybe do the funny one. Even if it's the wrong choice, at least they're making a choice. No, there's a 3rd dark option. Let's mix the 2 cuts together. And it's so blatantly obvious they chucked this thing in a goddamn blender to try to make everyone happy all of the time, which we know is impossible, even beyond comic book movies.
Yeah.
Pick a fucking direction.
You know what's interesting? I remember a thing about Steven Soderbergh, and I think even Louis C.K. said this about his one of his movies as well, is that there are certain movies that just don't test well. It doesn't mean they're not good. They just, like if you ask a general audience, and the movie that Steven Soderbergh was referring to is a movie I just rewatched, The Limey.
Okay.
The Limey is amazing. It's brilliant. It's a work of genius that will stand the test of time. But it's, like Steven Soderbergh, rightly refused to have that movie tested. And he was like, look, this movie is not going to test well. If you ask an audience, did you think this was funny? Did you think this was good? They're going to get a confused look on their face. And most of the time, they're going to lean towards the negative. It doesn't mean the movie's not good.
Because here's a secret coming from people that shit on things for their not living.
Yeah.
It's so easy to look at a thing and be like, that sucks.
Yeah.
In fact, you're probably going to come off as smarter if you look at a thing and you're not smart and you say that sucks. It's just an inherent thing. People can latch onto the negativity more. I'd like to think that you and I at least back up things, and we will. Oh, we will with this film. But, like, it's just when you're in a group of people, how easy is it to fucking kick circle anything if 3 people out of the 6 hate it?
Right.
Like, and most people want to go with the hive, sadly. Yeah. So I am a huge anti-fan of focus groups. I think focus groups
Sorry, I'm just working out the negatives.
Yeah. I think focus groups are the biggest joke that somehow it's just like sort of any sort of useless like leftover appendage or like an organ in your body. It's the appendix of the testing world. We don't need it because it doesn't really tell you shit.
We've been talking for a little bit here, and we haven't even gotten into the movie. We're so worked up about this thing. What is Suicide Squad about?
Suicide Squad. I'm not going to read the IMDb. Do you want to read the IMDb? Or you want me to read the IMDb this time?
You want to do it in your? Do you want to do it in your Joker voice? I know you've been practicing.
Oh yeah, I've been totally practicing. It's just an amalgamation. Let's see if I can pull this up. Here we go.
Let's have some fun.
Tell you what, I'm going to do it in my Joker voice. Here we go. This is closer to Mark Hamill, I'd like to think. A secret government agency recruits a group of imprisoned supervillains to execute dangerous black op missions in exchange for clemency, which ultimately leads to chaos.
Even that didn't put a smile on my face.
No,
it didn't do anything for me. So, yes, and a little bit of a macro thing is that Viola Davis in this movie, who plays
Amanda
Waller, is recruiting a team of bad guys in order to do good things because these bad guys are expendable, much like the Sylvester Stallone movie. Movies. Now, I have one major beef with this movie, and I saw this movie with frequent guest of our show, Gerard Mulligan.
You went and saw it with Gerard?
I did, yeah.
Amazing. Oh, side note, before you tell the story, I do have to make one correction from our from our Ghostbusters podcast.
Oh, yeah.
He said he was the only three-peat, or he was the one that was on the show the most.
Oh, yeah.
That is not true.
That's not true, Stephen.
Well, Buja's been on it 3 times as well, but also Robin has been on it 4 times.
Has she really?
Yeah. Wow. So I'm reworking Gerard's prize.
You're out.
Hold on. He is the person who I haven't slept with who has been on the show the most.
I feel sorry for Stephen Buja right now.
Hey, we lived together a long time.
So I saw it with Gerard, and I had one major beef with this movie, and it's a real fundamental beef. And to the point where Gerard and I were yelling at each other outside the movie theater. And then I followed up with emails, and he got annoyed at my emails.
Of course you did, you jackass.
Because I just...
Wait, so what did he think of the movie?
I think he thinks it's terrible.
Okay.
But I have one fundamental big problem with this movie.
Sure.
Harley Quinn shouldn't be in this movie. Harley Quinn has no purpose in this movie. She does not belong in here. The movie doesn't justify her existence to be in this movie. And she is the headline cast member of this movie next to Will Smith. And there is no reason for her to be in this movie.
There's really no reason for any of them to be in the... Here's what I will say in conjunction. I don't disagree with you, but I don't think there's no reason for her to be in this movie any more than any other character that's in this movie.
I think Captain Boomerang is the next character who doesn't need to be in this movie.
No. None of them do. There's nothing that happens in the plot has anything to do with any character's backstory, with the exception, if you really want to stretch it, to Will Smith and trying to get back to his daughter.
Right. My problem is that Amanda Waller is her stated mission in this movie is to assemble a group of people in order to combat the next meta-human crisis. What if Superman didn't share our values?
Sure.
So, okay, understandable. Like, we want to have like a black ops team who could fight back against that kind of threat.
Yeah.
All right. So you got a Superman, all right? And you're going to have, a Deadshot, a guy who's like the world's best shooter. Okay, I get it. You're going to have a killer crocodile, this meta-human guy who's like, who has
super strong, he's cannibal, and
tough skin. You can have Enchantress, this witch from...
You really only need Enchantress.
Yeah, you only need Enchantress. No, just follow with me for a second. You've got Katana, who's got this magical sword thing. I'm with you.
Steals souls. I heard that from some exposition from Jack Flag or Rick Flag or whatever the fuck Flag's name was.
I'm kind of with you on this so far. Okay, and then you've got Captain Boomerang. Okay, he throws a boomerang and he's Australian and he drinks beer. I'm not quite with you, but maybe if you made an argument that he has a special skill set that's akin to Deadshot, sure, maybe, like we see him do something at the end special with these boomerangs. And then...
Diablo.
Oh, let's not forget the man who can make fire with his mind.
Yep.
The nuclear option.
Yep.
Really, this team could be comprised of Enchantress and El Diablo.
Yep.
And then you're going to throw in a crazy girl with a baseball bat. You got to have her against the metahumans.
Well, I think
What's
your
wrong
problem
with this picture?
I think your problem is even beyond this. Here's something, and we won't talk too much spoilers yet. But the thing that they eventually in the third act that comes out of sort of fucking nowhere that they have to do is they go into a city to combat basically a giant supernatural CG fucking splooge fest in the sky once again from one of these comic book movies.
Where have I seen that before?
Everywhere. You've seen it everywhere. But
Even
this
your
is the
beloved
thing.
Avengers.
This is the thing. Yeah, Avengers does it fucking right because the Avengers.
Don't care. I'm sorry I even mentioned it.
But listen,
I'm sorry.
But I'm going to prove your point with the Avengers.
Sorry,
the Avengers are basically gods for the most part,
right?
With the exception of a few of them. There's some lesser ones, I guess, on this one too,
right? But they have purpose. I agree with what you're saying.
So that's why they fight alien menaces or giant technological armies of AIs and shit, right?
Okay.
This Suicide Squad has always been street level or at least government level.
That's what the premise of the comic books are. And that if the premise of this movie was that, I would be like, yep. There
are 19 better plots than this. They have to go fight a supernatural nightmare in an abandoned city.
So,
for instance, they could have done what they should have done, especially if they're going to shoehorn Harley and the Joker in here. You know what would be a great reason for Harley to be on the team? If Joker was the villain and fucking held a city hostage, and they need to get Harley's knowledge of the Joker to make her actually useful.
That's a page one rewrite that makes 100% sense to me. The what we got in this film, I was just sitting there the whole time going, why? Like, she's literally the selling point of this movie, and there is no need for her to be in this movie. I don't understand why anyone in the logical existence of this movie needed to have Harley Quinn in the team.
But even there's a scene where Amanda Waller's trying to prove to the government. It's not the scene in the trailer where they're eating dinner. That's when she first brings it up, and then they bring it up to like the full cabinet or whatever.
Yeah.
And she basically is like, she uses Enchantress as an Enchantress. This whole thing is
she's not quite controllable.
She's not quite controllable, but she has this. So it was an ancient Mayan or something god that infested a archaeologist.
Yeah.
June Moon or Mooney or something.
Dr. June Moon.
Dr. June Moon. And then if she says the word Enchantress, she releases the Enchantress. But Amanda Waller had her heart.
Yeah.
And that let her control it because she would do whatever. So one of the examples was she basically sends Enchantress. She says, like, go fetch or whatever. And in a second, she comes back with like Iran's nuclear arsenal book or something like that. Like the equivalent of like these plans that the military has been trying to steal for years. She did in mere seconds.
Yeah.
And that's what gives Amanda Waller the clout, the sort of like, okay, go ahead with your thing. But the fact of the matter is, they could just use Enchantress.
Yeah, and you could use Enchantress for like big jobs, and you could use El Diablo for like street
medium jobs.
Yeah.
And then you could use Harley Quinn and Deadshot for like street fag jobs.
What would you use? I mean, at this point, what would you use Harley Quinn for?
I don't know.
Yeah,
for Joker jobs. Joker jobs, you'd use Harley Quinn.
Exactly. If the film had posited that the Joker was the villain of this film,
do you think that was like at one point? Do you really? Because otherwise, you're 100% right. Do you think at one point it was a Joker?
It would make sense.
Because here's the deal.
Yeah.
There's a scene you've seen in the trailers with the Joker laughing, and he's surrounded by knives and computers and baby clothes.
And what's weird is that everyone in that trailer in moment reacts, go, uh-oh, this is not good. This is not good. The big bad.
I guarantee you the original cut had him as the villain, and I guarantee you they did.
But that scene actually is a flashback, and the person that
no, that scene's not a flashback.
Oh.
That scene is one of his henchmen is telling them where Harley's going to be so he can go to the city, and then he falls back laughing into the pit of knives and baby clothes and computers.
That scene. Okay, so I was thinking about the one where he's actually torturing Harley, which is played up in the trailer, like it was your opening line.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is the point at which the Joker comes into the story, and this is why we need Harley Quinn. But it's actually Harley Quinn who's on the table who's going to be tortured by him.
Right.
So it's a flashback that has no relevance to the actual plot of this movie.
It's just sort of an internal flashback for Harley.
Yeah.
But I really think there's a cut of this movie where the Joker's the villain.
I don't see how, because the Enchantress plays such a big part of the main thrust of why these guys are like.
I feel like think about that ending.
It makes complete sense to me that the Joker should be the villain of this movie, but that's not what this movie is. And if that was what this movie is, they must have shot like reshot 2/3 of it, because
it cost $10 million.
Because
reshoots cost $10 million.
He is so incidental to this plot. He just kind of appears for no reason. And again, from a structural standpoint, if you don't know the Joker and Harley Quinn's relationship, you're kind of wondering why he's even in this movie.
They set it up bare bones. I'm not saying they did it well, but I think from a person coming in cold wanting to know who the fuck Harley Quinn is, you kind of get it. The weird part and the continuity part from the comic books is, and everyone on the fucking internet's called this out, in this movie, he's like obsessed with her and loves her intrinsically, and he's hunting her down.
Abusive relationship in the other.
It's almost like abuse and neglect in a certain point, because he'll just throw her under the bus whenever and leave, and then she'll be heartbroken, and then he'll come back when he's bored.
Yeah,
like
we're talking about something that is so big in the film, but so weirdly uninvolved in what the film is about. You know, like what
was Gerard's argument? I'm just curious. What was his argument why she was supposed to be there?
I don't want to like speak for Gerard if he listens to this.
Sure.
But his counterpoint to this was that if you're going to see a Suicide Squad movie, Harley Quinn's going to be in it because she's in the comic. And I reject that argument.
Here's the thing.
100%.
I agree with that, but then the script has to.
The film needs to justify her existence in the movie.
Yeah, and it really doesn't.
It doesn't.
And you don't have the two main characters, if you're not familiar yet, are Will Smith's Deadshot, who I thought, it's just because Will Smith is a charismatic motherfucker. Like, I think he was great. I think Margot Robbie was great.
If we want to go through the things that I liked about the movie,
let's do that. We've been shitting on it. Let's talk about some nice things for a change.
Okay, the things I liked about the movie. Will Smith. I think Will Smith should be the biggest movie star on the planet.
Isn't he?
And he's not, which makes me sad because he's so charismatic. He's so cool. He's so funny. He can carry anything, and it's a shame to me that he's not the biggest movie star on the planet.
There's a scene. Well, I won't ruin it yet.
Okay. Margot Robbie's portrayal of Harley Quinn is pretty good.
She did great with what they gave her.
I think across the board, most of the actors do a good job.
This is the best film Jai Courtney's ever been in.
Yeah, I was thinking back to Terminator Genisys.
Yeah,
and I
really liked him in this.
I liked him in
this.
He
was fun. You know what? That's the only part of the editing process I feel like worked out well. Captain Boomerang's in it for the exact correct amount.
Although we'll get into things I don't like about the film. I will say this film is particularly diverse without making a big deal about it. Like, it feels like there are a lot of people of color in central roles in this film.
Yeah.
You could argue that this film does not take strides for gender equality.
Right.
But as far as having people of color in the movie without making a big deal about it, I was kind of, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one CGI moment in this film that I thought was really good. And I was like, ooh, that's cool.
Which one's that?
That is when Dr. June Moon transforms into Enchantress.
Yes!
And for the first
hand.
Time, the hand, I thought, that is a cool transition.
That's fucking great. I was like, yes.
That is a cool transition.
And then what do they do even with that amazing look, Shahir? She looks so fucking badass, all dirty and like crazy and like scraggly and shit. She looks amazing. And then what does she do? I'll tell you, they put her in a fucking sexed up Evil Lynn cosplay for the last fucking half of the movie, and all she does is dance while keeping her CG pasted head stayed completely still, and that's how you do magic.
Yeah, that dance with Cara Delevingne.
She was fucking awful in this movie.
Yeah,
Granted, I'm sure she wasn't given much.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to because that character is handled so poorly.
But she was so and again, it's almost like the story of this entire movie. You get these moments of greatness where you're like, "Fuck, this is going to be great," and then it's like, "Oh well."
Well, that's the thing that was weird to me is that there were scenes that I liked. Like, so when Will Smith is kind of like listing his demands for what he wants in exchange, and he's talking about his daughter going to the best schools, and if her grades start slipping, I need you people to white people that shit out.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's a good line, really good. And so it was kind of weird because like individual scenes were like, oh, I think that's from a good movie. But when they're kind of compounded on top of each other and characters start doing things that make no sense from one scene to the next, I was like, oh.
Filmmaking by committee.
It's so weird because I think I enjoyed this movie more than Batman v Superman but maybe only because it didn't take itself as seriously.
Well, yeah, and there's moments like that Will Smith moment, that Deadshot moment. There's moments of really funny greatness. The Enchantress moment when she first turns. Hell, some Harley sequences, even like action sequences with her, I really thought were cool and stylized and looked nice, not counting the bullshit CGI villains.
Yeah.
But like the movement, the camera work, yes, like as far as scene building and placement, you never quite knew where they were, and nor I don't think did anyone who was making this movie care. But like, I liked it, and this is the other thing too. We'll get into the music in a little bit, but basically, this thing is a bunch of music videos.
Yeah,
this thing's a bunch of music videos, and some of them are great, and some of them are fucking garbage.
The thing is, they're all on the nose. Like they're all really 100% on the nose.
Yep.
It's not like you could argue Quentin Tarantino does a really good job of making music videos within his movies that surprise you.
Yep.
Like the end of Django when we suddenly hear Tupac.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, that's so weird for this film
But
to
it
kind of
works.
do, but it really kind of works. This is, you can tell that they pulled out the Warner Brothers like playlist of what's available, what big tracks, we're doing the Rolling Stones right now. Okay, we got an Eminem track. Let's do an Eminem track.
Let's play an Eminem track, or was it Seven Nation Army? I don't know.
Yeah.
Over Harley Quinn's only time where she speaks in more than 5 words.
Yeah. So I gotta admit,
Lyrics. Let's play lyrics over that.
I think the music choices, while technically correct, are all so on the nose that they all kind of
And tripled up.
And tripled up by compounding them, they all become wrong.
And here's a fun fact. WB, if you're listening, the reason why old school music and sort of poppy stuff worked for Guardians of the Galaxy is because it was an actual character moment in Star-Lord's plot. It was a tape from his mother, and that's why you could go back and forth between being silly, fun, and serious. You can't just fucking play your goddamn remix or your fucking beautiful Spotify nonsense and make it do the same shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then there's just this part of me that, like we have this beef all the time about big budget blockbusters. I surprisingly enjoyed Star Trek Beyond, and next to this, Star Trek Beyond is a masterpiece. I just wonder why we spend so much energy, and this movie is making so much money. If it wasn't for the marketing budget of this movie, I think we would rightly, and the caliber of star power behind it, and the kind of the kind of comic book property that's behind this in this movie, I think we would, if it wasn't for all of those things, we would rightly relegate this to the punchline of this summer that we just forget about. It should be. It should be a film that we don't talk about that much because it's not worth talking about. The only reason I can think to see this movie is from a writing and an editing point of view, to see what happens when a film gets derailed. That's what I think is interesting about this movie, and the only thing worth watching.
Well, and the story behind it's that weird meta internet story behind it. Because now, what do you got? You got people wanting to petition for Rotten Tomatoes, which is fucking stupid. Idiots. They aren't rating it themselves. It's an amalgamation of reviews. So, duh. Also, you have a group of people, and this is kind of interesting, Shahir. Did you hear about the people that are actually suing Warner Brothers?
Well, it's the same lawsuit that went for Nicholas Winding's Drive, which was that someone sued them because the trailer suggested it was going to be like Fast and the Furious, and it was nothing like Fast.
And this guy has broken it down how it made Joker out to be a main character, and that's why he went and saw it. And there's people that are signing on to this thing and like all this stuff. And like,
I could, look, from to be honest with you, if you put a writer on the stand at that trial, and I think you could rightly argue that is a misinformation.
Yeah.
I think 100%. I don't think you should sue movies for being bad.
No.
But I think there's some validity to the statement that by pitching the movie that way, this person spent their now $15 to see this movie, or more, and was hoodwinked, so to speak. So, part of me, I feel like we shouldn't be talking this much about this movie, and part of me, I have this. The weirdest connection to me is that I feel like this is the Donald Trump of movies.
Whoa!
Which is that this is something we shouldn't be talking about. It's so bad that it's laughable, but the more we talk about it, the more we give it power.
Well, no. But this is the issue, and this is why it's separate. Like Fantastic Four, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
This one, Again, it's the thing I have the problem with. I mean, when movies don't stick a landing, I don't like it. This movie doesn't stick a lot of shit.
Yeah.
So like, but it's something that I do care about. Like, I care about comic book movies. We all know this.
Right.
And I get sad. I like Fantastic Four, I didn't have a huge emotional reaction to, but I was kind of, it's just another shitty one.
You care about the properties that you care about.
Sure. So like, then you have this where, again, I'm not tied to it from a canonical or a comic book place, but I love the Joker.
Yeah.
I love Harley Quinn. I love anyone in sort of the Batman verse. So even Deadshot, I'm familiar with. I've fought him in the video games and Killer Croc and like all these are characters that I like.
Yeah.
And to do them a disservice and not even like, yes, there's scripting problems, of course. The dialogue's not great, but sometimes it's awesome.
Yeah.
Means it's written by committee. Also, the story of the reshoot. This movie, this is why I find it interesting. It is an example of pure fear. Batman v Superman, Dawn of got super dark and gritty. When that property should not have been as dark and gritty. That property should have had some levity and whatever. Because
I don't think that's the problem with Batman.
Well, no, that's one of the problems. There's other problems, but they took the wrong lesson from it, and they're like, "Oh fuck, everyone wants funny. We have this super dark and gritty movie coming out that should be super dark and gritty."
Yeah,
and no, fuck, now we need to make it funny because everyone wants it to be funny.
You know what I would have. I mean, it's hard to argue what this movie should be because it depends on who's making it. But obviously this is the and this is a non-gender specific use of the term, but a men on a mission movie. So we're talking about the Seven Samurai, the Magnificent Seven, the Wild Bunch, the Dirty Dozen, that kind of thing. But it fails at the most basic functional level of that kind of movie. And I think David Ayer, is actually a pretty good director.
Yeah.
Just somehow
Fury was solid.
I didn't see Fury, but I really like End of Watch, and he wrote Training Day, and I think Training Day is excellent.
Yeah.
So
he didn't write this, did he?
He did write this.
Ugh.
But
how many other people wrote this?
I mean, he's credited as the writer and director.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows how many people actually got involved in it, but he's credited as the only writer.
Yeah.
I highly it just feels like it fails at the most basic level. So what I would have really loved this film to be, and that's not to say that this is what this film should be, but it should have been Fight Club meets The Dirty Dozen. It should have been a film that really has this punk aesthetic in this sort of men on a mission movie.
And it should go into the psychology of these fucking sociopaths.
Yeah, and it should play with it, because we're basically saying, oh, instead of the good guys, here are the bad guys. But this film does nothing of the sort like that. And I can't. It's hard to suggest that I dislike this movie because of what it should be. I do dislike it because of what it actually is, which is to say, it is incoherent, it is laughably bad, and the thing that the more fundamental thing that makes me, I mean, the thing that I mentioned about Harley Quinn points to me the Mike Judge Idiocracy moment, which is that if this is the direction our big budget blockbusters are going, we're in real trouble here, and we have a real problem. And we are only 8 years from when The Dark Knight came out, which I think is 100% 180 degrees opposite from what this is. The Dark Knight respects its audience. It is trying to do something ambitious. But 8 years on from that, this is where we're at. And if this is where we're at, I think we've taken a real turn for the worse.
Here's the interesting thing about that. You say you're not mad at it because of what it could be, right? I'm 100% mad at it because of what it could be. We could fucking throw darts at words on a wall and build a better story structure with most of the shit they shot. Like, it's the absolute worst fucking slice and dice ordering of all the shit this movie has to offer. And you could just shuffle it. You could put, if this comes out on Blu-ray, and I don't even know if Blu-ray players have the shuffle option. Remember on DVD players, you had the shuffle option, you could just play it. You could probably do that, and I bet you it would come out with something more coherent.
The problem is, I think it was shuffled, and that's why it's incoherent. Like, I really...
No, of course, when we talked about it, they shuffled the two cuts together.
Yeah, and but I don't know how it made it out of the editor suite. I think
they got to a point where they didn't care, and they just said, fuck it, throw the
I think they
kitchen
had a
sink at it.
deadline, and they were like, but it's that... It's kind of Days of Heaven bad, and Days of Heaven is actually better than this. But, like, at some point they just gave up and kind of put this out.
So we've been shitting on it in generalities. Let's shit on it with specific moments. We're going to go into spoilers now.
Before we do that, I was talking about the idiocracy. My point about I feel like this is another step at the dumbing down of movie going audiences. I don't think big blockbusters need to be dumbed down like this. And arguably the dumbing down happens with this kind of need to do some big special effect wank fest at the end of these movies as well. But the thing that actually did there's two things that really irk me.
Mm-hmm.
One is Mike Birbiglia tweeted his movie "Don't Think Now" or "Don't Think Twice." I think it's called.
Okay.
The movie, the lovely looking movie about comedy improv troupe starring Keenan from. His movie opened the same weekend, and the MPAA gave it an R rating because two people smoked pot in it. This movie, which is one of the most violent, almost to a level of being despicable.
This movie isn't that violent.
Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
It's not that violent?
What's super violent about it?
When they're decapitating human beings.
Monsters. They're monsters. They're
monsters.
CG fucking monsters.
And
they're CG monsters. There's not heads. That's the thing. I got pissed about that.
And they're and there's so much gun violence in this movie.
But they never shoot people. That's the weird part. That's what I'm saying.
But to me, it's violence.
I get where you're going.
It's violence without consequence. And that film got a PG-13.
No, I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying this.
PG-13 versus an R-rated movie.
No, that is very true.
I think we're starting.
I was making a side point. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're starting to see this. I just think this is so problematic. This speaks to so much that is wrong with the world.
So that's your one thing. What's the other thing?
Well, I mean,
come on, buddy, let it out.
I will never let my child see this movie. Even I will let my child, when at an inappropriate age, watch Fight Club. I will let my child at an inappropriate age watch The Dark Knight. I will let my child at an inappropriate age watch Terminator 2. I will, as long as I have some capacity to control what my child watches, they will never watch this movie.
Why?
Because I think it'll be a waste of their time. It'll be a waste of time to watch this movie.
Kids got a lot of time.
And I think they should be watching good movies. And this is so far in the opposite direction of a good movie.
I think it's so interesting that we hate it for such different reasons. Because there's two movies there. I would just say that you hate it for what it is. I hate it for what it's not.
Right. And the only reason I'm just careful about that is that I'm not involved in the making of this movie, and who knows how
100%. But
and also this kind of, the thing that the Marvel universe has set up is this idea that movies need to set up other movies now. Mm-hmm. I feel like that has gotten in the way.
That didn't really poison the well here for me. There was one after credit scene and everything else was normal.
The after credit scene that made no sense because it just repeated a piece of information that happened in another movie.
Yep.
Ugh.
I know, but no, that's one thing I will give this. This did not get weighed down with a lot of continuity. They mentioned Superman once.
Unless but again, it has a main character that has no reason to be there. Unless that main character is there for other movies, I don't know why that character is in this movie.
I don't think the Joker's in it for.
I'm talking about Harley Quinn again.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying the reason I feel comfortable in saying that I'm mad at this movie for what it isn't is it showed me in trailers at least 2 or 3 different amazing films that this could have been.
Sure.
Ideas that had to have been formulated enough to make these trailers.
Yeah.
And then they give you this. And I'm like, fucking what the shit? This movie is and then we're going to get into the actual movie, but I made this analogy when I walked out of the theater. It's like you saved up a shit ton of money and you bought like the sports car of your dreams, like a Maybach or a Lamborghini or a Tesla or something. And it's fucking 5 miles off the lot. And instead of just like joyriding it, you just fucking careened it off a cliff or into a tree just because.
Or another analogy would be is that you drive off the lot and then the doors fall away and you realize it's a Toyota.
Yeah, I like my crash one because this thing crashes and burns. Anyway, listen, let's get into the whole thing. So Amanda Waller, spoilers.
I think we're happy to talk about spoilers.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm happy to talk about spoilers is my one recommendation is do not pay to see this movie. Do not go see this movie and do not pay to see it.
I'm torn and I'll tell you why at the end. So they get this whole thing and Enchantress is proven that they need to do this. So then all of a sudden something bad happens in Metro City? Sure. And one of the I thought it was Metro City.
I thought it was Mid City or something. I don't know.
No, because there's like Star City and all the stupid cities, but then there's other real cities in the DC universe. I don't fucking know.
Right.
Anyway, and then they have to gather the Suicide Squad together and
Midway City.
City. And then all the while, Joker is trying to find where Harley is because she's basically in this black box tank that no one knows, and he gets people on the inside, and like they slip her a cell phone, and then he's tracking her to kind of rescue her, but they're sending her on this mission.
Right.
Anyway, they evacuate the city because Enchantress frees her brother, the other Mayan god, and like he starts wreaking havoc in the city, and then they have a very brief moment of exposition where they're like, these people no longer worship us. They worship machines, so I'll build a machine to kill them all. So again, I got to say, the art design for Enchantress pre-super power up is amazing. I think it looks so fucking cool.
Right.
The aftermath when she's building the machine and doing magic. There's a way to do magic, and God, I hope Doctor Strange does it well.
Right.
But I have high hopes because of how Scarlet Witch is portrayed doing magic. If you look at Elizabeth Olsen, and I don't know if you probably don't even give a shit about this, but I'm gonna talk about it anyway. When Elizabeth Olsen is casting spells or doing something as Scarlet Witch, you can tell she A, is a dancer, and B, went through some choreography to sort of do like actual. It looks like she's doing something. Yeah. This movie, Enchantress, just looks like she's shimmying and like waving her arms around like a fucking World of Warcraft spell that's being cast for 10 seconds, like animation from 20 years ago. So when she gets super powered up, then they start building this machine, and it's basically making a big trash circle in the sky, like another big light in a big middle of an abandoned city that our good guys, bad guys, whatever, have to go stop. So they fly the Suicide Squad in, all the while. There's some cool cameo. I mean, the Joker's basically a not cool cameo because he just shows up randomly and it's just fucking bullshit, either in a flashback or in a not flashback. You're never quite sure. And then there's two Batman moments in this. One when he catches the Joker and shows sort of Harley's moment, and that's great. I think that was awesome. Then there's also the Deadshot moment. I think when Batman kidnaps Deadshot, I think that's
arrest
Deadshot.
Yeah,
that moment with his daughter is super powerful. I really like that. It gives
it's that thing we were talking about, like where individual scenes are okay.
It sets up Deadshot's character perfectly, and no other character gets that right.
Right.
No other character gets that pleasure or purpose other than Deadshot. Even Harley's, you spend just as much time on it, but you don't learn shit about who Harley is.
Yeah, or why she's in this movie.
So then another misstep as they're sort of putting the team together is how they they in the beginning is like that whole like they tried to Guardians it up when they did the whole like roll call thing when they get captured, and it's like Rocket, he did this, Groot, he's that, whatever. Yeah. They did that almost like in a post-level stills sort of thing, like Killer Croc, do, fun facts, trying to be silly. They do it for 80% of the squad. And then they don't do it for two of them.
Oh, who was the second person they didn't do?
Slipknot.
I know they didn't
and Katana.
I thought they did do a backstory. Like we saw Katana fighting some
Katana.
samurai.
Yeah, no, they did briefly, but they never gave her the card, the placard.
Right.
And the only time you ever learn anything about her is when they're all resting, and Rick Flag's like, her sword steals souls. Yeah. She lost her husband. Like, and then it goes into a flashback. Bullshit.
The Slipknot one was
Slipknot.
So glaring.
Fuck.
It was just like we're doing a backstory for every character.
Except this one you're going to see for 3 seconds to die.
Except for this one. Oh, that's the one that's going to die.
To prove, because they get explosives stuck in their neck, and the first thing the criminals do, like, oh, it's a hoax, let's fucking run. And Slipknot, is it Slipknot?
Yeah. I don't know that character.
I might be.
But it was just, it was so
he tries to get away and they blow up his head, and then they're like, oh shit, this is real. Like, that's why he's there. But that had no weight. Because the way they didn't set him up.
It seems like the most obvious thing is like set up that character to
the
be
same exact way you set up everyone else.
So that it is a surprise.
So either you're completely inept at storytelling or you truly don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it was the strangest decision ever.
So they go into the city, and this is something that I found interesting. I was talking to some people about it last night. So they're in the helicopter, right? And they're flying into the city, the abandoned city, and Harley looks out the window. And she's like, whoa, look at the pretty lights. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I thought everyone looked outside. For whatever reason, I just thought all the characters, like, they noticed it. But then when they ask Rick Flag, the military guy who's sort of bringing them in, what's going on? He's like, terrorist stuff. We have to go rescue this asset from terrorists. And they're like, oh, okay. But, like, Did no one else actually look out the window when Harley said, look at the pretty lights to see the giant fucking blue-ass trash fire in the sky?
Again,
Side note, sorry, I'm just going to keep rambling.
Yeah, no, go for it.
So the whole reason the Suicide Squad's supposed to exist is for deniability. Amanda Waller even says this. So you should just send in this group with the thing of like tracking them and letting them know their heads are going to explode if they disobey. But they send in Rick Flag and an entire contingent of military guys. There goes your deniability, asshole. You're sending the fucking military, even Black Ops. And if you could send Black Ops without giving yourselves accountability, why do you need the Suicide Squad? Like, there's not only is Harley kind of pointless, like you're saying, the whole sending them on this mission, they are not equipped to fight what is going on.
No.
They don't get the deniability that they want because they're going with military personnel. What the fuck?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to play devil's advocate here.
Please.
And I think there's something there could be something interesting in the idea that the setting up of this Black Ops team causes the Enchantress to go rogue. And like because of Amanda Waller, this whole thing happened. I think that sounds more interesting than what actually happens. And the film in no way addresses that. That could have been maybe where they were going with it.
Also, side note, how Rick Flag and his team keeping the mission secret from them.
Yeah, for no reason.
For no fucking reason. They start seeing those amorphous sort of humanoid monsters that the Enchantress makes.
That you can kill for PG-13
That you can kill for PG-13 because they break apart in a black mist instead of blood.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're faceless.
Even though they were formerly human.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, no, that's how the rules work.
Yep. Heaven forbid they should smoke pot.
Oh no! If they smoked pot, they'd be toast. And I don't even know if even Boomerang is drinking beer. It looked like energy drinks for half the fucking time.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, so then there's this moment like after a bunch of the military guys get killed and they're sort of moving through the city to go to do this unnamed mission that no one seems to be questioning at all, even though some of them or all of them should have seen the magic going on in the distance.
Yeah.
Deadshot gets a hold from one of the crashed helicopters a book that says a file, a thing that says jokably just top secret in a 3-ring binder.
Yeah.
And he throws it in Rick Flag's face. He's like, tell him what this is about.
He read it in an instant, by the way.
Yeah.
He read that whole binder.
And then he tells them like about the Enchantress, which I feel like they should have already known based on the black goo monsters and a couple other things. And then but then it's supposed to be this big reveal. And they didn't reveal shit. And then after that moment, for no fucking reason, I skipped a part, we'll go back. They're all like best friends. They hate each other, and then they're all like, I got a new family now.
Yeah. It's and this thing, again, if you're going to follow the structure of what I think this movie is trying to do, which is the Dirty Dozen or Seven Samurai something, you need some moment where this team comes together and learns to like work together. They have no training before they get into this. They're kind of dropped into a military base. They get dressed and they're out in the world.
Yep.
And then the thing that baffles me the most is conflicting character beats. Like every character flip-flops in some way in this film for no apparent reason. So the first one is Deadshot has just met Harley Quinn. Like literally just met her. And then she escapes because the Joker comes in.
That's the point. Let me just say, I'll set this up for you. So basically, they go to get to their mission extraction, and lo and behold, surprise, surprise, the person they need to extract is Amanda Waller. And it's like, what? Oh, she's stuck in the city because she didn't leave. Then she executes her entire FBI team because she's a badass.
And Flag seems to have no problem with this.
No, none.
Even though he seems to be like riling Deadshot up the entire movie about being like a fucking
murderer.
A mercenary.
So then they're going to leave, and the helicopter that's going to pick them up has been hijacked by the Joker, and he starts attacking them and trying to get Harley. Harley jumps out. Then there's a moment where Amanda Waller's like, I'll save your daughter. I'll let you see your daughter or pay for your daughter or whatever. Kill Harley Quinn. He's like, okay. And then he goes and do it. And then he purposely misses.
And it's like he literally has just met Harley.
He doesn't have any, and he's proven like in his backstory, because he got a backstory, that he'll just kill people.
I mean, at some point, now someone on the internet might point out that at some point later in the film, they say he doesn't kill women and children.
Truth. Okay.
Fine, but that still, like, if you're given basically the offer of like getting your daughter back, getting the thing you want back for a murderous villainess who, again, is no reason to be in the movie, and that you literally just met, that makes no sense to me.
So they eventually, how does the Joker helicopter crash?
I'm not exactly.
Something happens, Joker helicopter crashes.
And I love how Harley Quinn kind of like falls out of the helicopter and then like parkour rolls onto a building.
Yeah, and she's fine.
And she's fine.
And then it crashes.
Incidentally, the Joker's fine.
Yeah, eventually you find out later, right before the end of the movie. And then Harley's like sad on a car downstairs while they're waiting for them to leave because more helicopters can't come.
And also she gets back. She's back in with this new family. Oh God.
And then
why are we talking about this movie?
So then they finally have to go stop Enchantress, right? They're all together. They have to stop. Oh, Amanda Waller gets kidnapped by the goo people
again. And also, but what would you do if you had to go to like save the world?
Well, then they all go to get a drink. There's that like totally reshot scene of them going to get a drink where they tried to make, and then you get randomly El Diablo's fucking backstory.
Also, like Katana decides to like
Katana was military,
and she decides to join them for no reason. She's like,
this is good.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Oh, sorry, I've been talking a while.
No, I have. The thing is, I have not a lot to say other than people do things in this movie that make no sense, and I legitimately. Not just make no sense, but are 180 degrees different from what their characters should be doing.
Yeah. It feels like, on a TV show, this happens every once in a while, happened a lot during the writer's strike, when there's like your favorite character and they're working in 3 seasons, and all of a sudden a guest writer comes on one episode and then it just doesn't sound like them at all.
Yeah.
Like True Blood did that shit a lot.
I think Lost had a few character moments like that, which was really annoying.
This felt like that.
But it's like that not from episode to episode, but from scene to scene.
Yeah.
Which is just the craziest thing. I don't understand what's happening.
So okay, let's just say, Shahir, for the sake of argument, that we can get past all this stuff and we're going to watch this movie to try to follow its own rules. Because so far, I will say, up to this point, even though the plans don't make any sense, even though the characters go against their better interests and the way that they're supposed to be acting most of the time, the rules the movie sets up, how magic works and how the powers work and all that stuff, have been coherent. They haven't broken their own rules yet. So they've made it about 3/4 through the movie. They haven't.
Like, how do you mean they haven't broken?
Like when you set up a movie, I have no problem when a movie's like, oh, well, magic does this, so that's how magic works. And you're like, great, okay, like I've bought in, like they show you the way a thing works and therefore that's how it works. Even though, like, I'm not saying they did a great job explaining, but they haven't directly broken rules yet about how magic works.
I feel like this is a caveat is about to fly into the window.
Well, my friend, the whole stupid third act tacked on CG battle nonsense. So far, nothing has killed these gods. Military, explosions, strikes on them, all this shit haven't been able to stop this Enchantress, her stupid brother, or this dumb machine that we're not sure what it does other than rip up satellites that it picked out of Amanda Waller's mind.
Right.
And the Suicide Squad's plan, to give Killer Croc something to do, is go into a flooded tunnel and pick up an old landmine from a mission that Jack Flag was on that we never knew how he escaped.
Right.
And put that landmine under a specific part that El Diablo would lure the brother over and blow up the landmine. And all of a sudden, we're told these godlike creatures can't be hurt by all these things. This one special landmine.
And also our Enchantress, who has created a machine that can destroy satellites and technology with the power of her mind, suddenly decides to go hand to hand against human beings, the Suicide Squad. Enchantress, who has the power to transform human beings to globulous ash creatures, suddenly decides to go hand to hand against crazy girl with a baseball bat. Yep.
What the fuck? And this is how great ideas die. So they beat her.
Of course they do.
And then they all go back to prison.
And I love the line when Amanda Waller comes back because of course she's got to live.
Yep.
And Will Smith is like, how is it you're not dead right now? And I'm like, you know what? That's an excellent question, Deadshot.
Yeah.
Maybe this is all some kind of crazy fever dream.
But Harley gets an espresso machine, guys.
Harley gets an espresso.
And Deadshot gets to see his daughter, and no one else gets anything. I think Boomerang just gets thrown back.
No. You're forgetting about the one moment of amazing diversity that this film throws at us as well.
What?
So, shawty, I'm beautiful. What do I want? BET. And at the end of the film, Killer Croc has BET.
Oh, yeah.
He may as well have been eating fried chicken at that moment. I think he might have been. For what I said about having this film having diversity, it does have diversity, and it was just such a strange thing to throw in there. The guy literally says, "I want BET," and he gets BET.
You know what would have been great? Any other, like, if you said CMT, that would have been a joke. Hey, guys, you know how you were trying to write jokes?
Yeah.
You fucking idiots.
And the Joker comes back because he's important.
And then he breaks Harley out.
Oh, I love how he had a SWAT jacket with the words Joker written on it.
Yeah. Well, he also has a tattoo on his stomach that says the words Joker on it. You know what I will say?
But I could just in my brain imagine, like, we have to the Joker kind of like stopping in the middle of like this plan to rescue Harley Quinn and be like, guys, I'm gonna need the Joker printed on my SWAT jacket. Otherwise I can't do this.
Just so they know.
Just so they know.
The Heath Ledger Joker is fantastic. You want to know how I got these scars? Like, that's in that whole moment, that whole everything with him
that movie does so much to give the Joker, like,
it makes the Joker real,
and it also like it makes you. It works so well to make the Joker a good antagonist for the richest man in the world who has all the toys.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
And you know what's awesome about The Dark Knight? Because if you deconstruct The Dark Knight, it's way too, like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like everything's too easy for the Joker. The Joker's always in the right place at the right time, and like it kind of falls apart.
But then it does that thing where it's just like, I'm just making this up.
But it's so fucking cool that you gloss over it the first, second, third, fourth, fifth time you watch it. Look, Jared Leto's Joker is not bad. There are moments of it that I really enjoy, but he was all over the place. And the Joker, it's so funny because the Joker's not supposed to be all over the place. He's supposed to be crazy and a sociopath, but he needs to have, even though his rules are that there aren't any rules, he's still a character.
Look, I think the actors do good work in this movie. I think they're lit down by the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, you could have Heath Ledger doing his Joker in this movie, and you would probably think he was terrible because he's in a bad movie.
Yeah.
The thing about the Joker in The Dark Knight is he's supported by a good movie.
Yeah.
So it's fun. I don't think it's the actors' fault. I think they all do good work. Will Smith, so good.
I'm super curious about all the Joker shit they cut out, because I guarantee you, with the way that I keep saying Heath Ledger because that's all I can think of with the Joker. Yeah. Jared Leto, he was like staying in character on set and like sending bullets to his co-stars and like all sorts of, that sort of thing. Again, you don't do that for a fucking less than 15-minute cameo in a film. Like, he was a fucking main character at one point.
He was,
and
committed.
I bet you,
like, again, I think Margot Robbie playing Harley Quinn is good.
But here's the thing where the movie, or maybe just the cut, fails her. Yeah. It's, if you noticed, she never gets more than a 5-word sentence until the moment where she's like, what? I should kill everybody and escape? Oh, the voices, like that whole trailer moment, which they play lyric song under.
Right.
I'm sorry, you didn't develop her enough to earn the bent over butt shot 9 times. Like, you did. She's literally just a fucking sex object in this movie. And Harley Quinn means a lot to a lot of people.
I mean, I went back and reread, because I remember watching the animated, Batman the animated
and that's
series,
where she was created.
That's where she was created. And I remember like reading, like, her through line in that series is kind of amazing. And it's kind of, like when you think about where this character is being, what she's, done, she should be the female Joker. And I think she's more interesting.
The thing about Harley is she gave comic book fans, and women in particular, women had 2 options before Harley Quinn, and in a weird way, in a comic book world. You had just the fucking oversexed nonsense model thing.
Catwoman?
Sure.
Yeah.
Or you had the woman of pure righteousness, the same body type, mind you.
Of course, yeah.
But like just the goody, good.
Yeah.
You never had a woman in a relationship that was like a main character that was consistently abusive. You never had her triumph over that. You never had the emotional weight and sort of repercussions of dealing with something like that. And that's something that spoke to a lot of not only women, but people.
Yeah.
And now you take this fucking character, beloved. I would say beloved more than Deadpool.
Yeah. Deadpool or Deadshot?
Deadpool.
Right.
I'm saying Deadpool, like Marvel Deadpool.
Yeah.
But still the same sort of wackiness and like whatever, but like with a real core of emotion, and you knock her down to like very cheesy one-liners, some of which hit, and that's fine, and booty shorts.
Yeah.
And again, I don't mind the costume. She is a sexual being. There's no question about that. But my point,
admittedly, and also her onesie, which we get a glimpse of in the film, which is her classic character, looks silly. It looks silly in real life.
Oh, of course. I appreciate they tried to do that famous Joker and Harley cover, like homage, and that was for a Flash, and that was fine.
Yeah.
But it's just like, if you're gonna have these stupid, totally fucking sexist shots, you need to, in a weird way, earn them and make her an actual fucking person. And in the cut, maybe the performance is different in other cuts and whatever. She wasn't a person. She was a flashback machine. So we saw the Joker.
But the movie just gives so much weight to her that it literally. This is the thing that makes me sad, is that it feels like the filmmaking machine behind this movie isn't going, let's make a movie. It's going, here. Oh, you like it's kind of throwing slop to the hordes and saying, oh, you like Harley Quinn? Here's some Harley Quinn for you. You like the Joker? Here's some Joker for you.
Yeah.
You like these things? Here.
And that's the wrong message. That's the wrong message that the movie took. And again, I go back to fear. This whole movie reeks of everyone who is making it at the corporate level being terrified of losing money.
It's the Donald Trump of movies. It's the Donald Trump.
So Shahir, we've been talking about this slop for nearly an hour. Should people see it?
I don't even want to talk about it anymore, but no. And unfortunate, because I like a lot of the talent behind this movie. Again, I wish Will Smith was the biggest movie star on the planet. He should be. But no, don't, and don't. No, do not. Nope.
I will say, I'm torn, to be honest.
Nope.
I am torn.
This, if you pay to see this movie, this is why movies will be bad from now on.
Yes, and that's the one side of my argument. The other one is, this is what I wonder. I truly wonder this. Everyone's been shitting on this movie, right? Most people have been shitting on this movie. There are some people that seem to really like it, but again, I wonder if that comes from a fanboy place.
Yeah.
And I know, side note, I understand, listeners, that I am a Marvel kid. I get that. This has nothing to do with that. I love, like I said before, DC television, DC animated, fucking choice. Yeah. Great shit. This is not a Marvel versus DC shit. This is something that's worthwhile versus something that's garbage.
Right.
The problem, the thing that I'm interested in, though, is if I waited a week, listened to all the reviews, listened to us, listened to if other podcasts about this existed, listen to them.
There are unfortunately no other podcasts.
I know. Could my expectations be lowered enough where I would enjoy it? Because that is a thing. I'm wondering, this is, how you said, like, why are we talking about this? This is the Donald Trump of films and all that shit.
Yeah.
Did I put too much importance on this movie before walking into it? Knowing that the pedigree is that of a trash fire.
Yeah. I would argue that if that was your criteria, then I think you would enjoy Batman v Superman more, because you got to see Batman fight Superman, and that is mildly interesting. Nothing in, like, we talked about the one moment that we both thought was cool. I don't think either of us have any other moments in this movie that we thought were genuinely cool.
I mean, maybe scenes or shots, but I can't think of them off the top of my head.
No. And so I
liked the Joker and Harley in the acid. I like that scene.
Serves no function.
Nope.
Serves no function whatsoever in this movie.
I mean, it gives you a little bit of her background, but okay.
But I don't get it either. I was like, what did that do to her?
Well, the whole thing,
skin white.
Yeah, but it makes her crazy, and there's something it makes him a little bit stronger. Like, that's the sort of thing. And it doesn't teach you that in the movie. That's just sort of a comic book thing.
Right.
And she's also a gymnast. They set that up too, but whatever. She's a gymnast psychiatrist who.
I mean, again, if you are going into like a magical battle, that's who you got to have in your corner.
Anyway,
you got to have crazy hot girl pants with a baseball bat.
So swing, batter, swing, batter, swing.
Like, even if they said she is so crazy that she always wins in a fight, that's her advantage over other people, and that's why we're going to send her in, I would be like, okay, cool.
Because she's expendable.
She's expendable. That's not why. And again, she is next to Will Smith, the
main character.
The main character. If you didn't know any superhero lore, if you didn't know the Suicide Squad, if you walked into this movie never knowing who the Joker was, if an alien walked into this movie, they might go, I think there's something wrong with the human race.
Yeah. Anyway, so my moral of the story is, I don't want you to see it because you're paying for it makes people will make this happen again, like Shahir said. What I will say
You're
is
voting with your dollars for the Donald Trump of movies.
So if you have a way somehow of seeing it without doing that, maybe at a friend's house when it comes out or something along those lines, yeah, it might be downplayed so much where you could find some joy about it, especially if you just want to see a live version, even if it's superfluous, of Harley Quinn or the new Joker, or if you have like that morbid curiosity, right. Or like even what you said in the beginning of this podcast, where it's like, even from a filmmaking standpoint of like, oh, here's what's not to do when you're totally terrified of your audience and you're worried about the internet and you don't have any fucking spine and you just fucking like to regurgitate garbage onto the screen because you know it'll make money. It's so funny. You start by caring and then all of a sudden you just fucking roll over and you're like, you know what? They're just going to buy this shit anyway. And we're just buying this shit anyway. That's the problem. You fucking, I hate the company behind this movie. I love the people behind it.
Individual. It's that weird thing, which is, I think Will Smith said it in Men in Black, or Tommy Lee Jones said to him, which is that people, like individuals, are smart. And I think the individuals behind this movie are smart people. I think David Ayer is awesome.
Yep.
And I think all the actors that are in this movie do a really good job. But people are like sheep, and they move weird, and they're irrational, and they do dumb things. And that's, So the moral of the story is, shame on you, Warner Brothers, you fucking troglodytes. I don't know who to blame, but yeah, it makes me sad.
Me too. You know what? And that's why I'm so angry, is because I'm sad. And again, I go back to it. I care about this movie. I do. That's why I wanted to talk about it. That's why I wanted to see it.
I was anticipating this movie. I was like, oh, that looks cool. It looks like an inverse of what we've seen before.
It looks like something different, and it was just the same shit, just done worse.
They should be the inverse Justice League.
Yep.
And that should mean it gives you so many opportunities to do interesting things with them.
Nope. Anyway, I feel defeated.
Hey, but on the other side, let's talk about one of my favorite things that I love to do, which is the Criterion Corner.
I can't even be mad at you. I'm just sort of like, I'm over it.
So instead of going to see Suicide Squad, I have a reoccurring thing which I like to do, which is that a lot of the Criterion Corner collection films are available on Hulu, and I watched 2 of them this week, and I'm going to recommend them to you. One is one of my, again, a personal favorite film of mine called Schizopolis, which is directed by Steven Soderbergh. Right before he went off to direct Out of Sight, decided he needed, and right after the sort of triptych of movies that didn't do too well from him, including King of the Hill and The Underneath, I think it's called, and he just got the job to do Out of Sight, and so he was like, fuck, I'm about to go make this big studio movie. I need to like make something for me. And so he basically took a camera out. He's the main actor in the movie. It's a nonsensical series of vignettes where characters speak in unusual languages, hilarious sort of non sequiturs. It's really kind of amazing to watch. Schizopolis is available on Hulu right now, or on the Criterion Collection. And the other film I watched was 3 Cases of Murder, which was sort of a triptych of short films about odd murders. And the thing that I thought that was interesting there is one of the actors, is an English film, Alan Bedell, really felt like he could play the Joker, by the way. He was just this maniacal presence, and he's up against Orson Welles in one of these, again, personal favorite of mine. Not the best film on the Criterion Collection, but I did see it this week. If you have something on the Criterion Collection that you want me to check out, please send us an email at onlymoviepodcast@gmail.com, or hit us up on Twitter at onlymoviepod. Also, hit us up on our Facebook page. Let us know what you think about our Suicide Review. Were we right? Were we wrong? Is there another movie that you want us to see instead of the Suicide Squad? And Matt, how else could you let people see us?
You can also, you can
you're
find
so
me.
Sad right
I am
now.
sad. You know what? I'm going to start a corner too. It's going to be called something else that DC did that's not pure horseshit. And it's going to be, you should check out Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, because that's a fucking awesome animated movie that does everything right. And you should see that after you're sad when you leave the theater from this fucking cinematic afterbirth. You can find me at Emperor MSK on Twitter, Skeletor the number 4 PREZ on Instagram, or at www.matthewkroll.com for my life and works. Also, make sure to check us out at PAX. We'll be happier then, because I do think there's a lot to talk about when we talk getting good at making video game movies at our panel at the Sphinx Theater, 6 o'clock, September 2nd, Friday night.
And if you want to get in touch with me or see my works and life and ramblings, go to www.shahirdaud.com, SHAHIRDAUD.com. Matt. This is the first time I've seen you so sad. You look like the wind has been taken out of you.
I just don't give a why the fuck should I care if these people
Matt,
turning out this swill don't care?
I need you to be the wind beneath my wings.
Sure.